A few months ago, I made a video about my top 10 questions about Fantastic Beasts 2. And since then, a few of them have been answered. Like, for example, J.K. Rowling confirmed on Twitter that Queenie was born with extremely powerful legilimency powers, which explains why Queenie is always described as a legilimens, whereas every other extremely powerful wizard is just described as highly skilled at legilimency. She also confirmed that Newt was going to be the main character in the upcoming sequels. She answered some FAQs on her website, including why Harry didn't create an Obscurus, which is just a completely separate video I made. And according to the director, Credence is still alive because according to an article on Cinema Blend, he said in an interview, "We actually had a scene which we cut, which was Credence going to a boat to get on a boat somewhere else, but we cut that because we didn't want to have such an, here we go." So what was that scene kind of like? Him getting on a boat, maybe with Newt, maybe not, and heading off out of New York. And finally, and most importantly to this video, it's been confirmed by many film-related news outlets, specifically IMBD, which is where I came across it, that Fantastic Beasts 2 will be set in Paris in the following days after Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Hello there! How you doing? That is the longest intro I've ever made to a video ever. But yeah, this is huge news! Because unlike America, we actually do know a little bit about wizardry in Western Europe. Specifically, we know about this school, Beauxbatons. I always get told I pronounce Durmstrang wrong, but I know I've got my French pronunciation on point. Thought to be situated somewhere in the Pyrenees, visitors speak of the breathtaking beauty of a chateau surrounded by formal gardens and lawns created out of the mountainous landscape by magic, and is attended to in large numbers by French, Spanish, Portuguese, Dutch, and Luxembourgian students. But since Fantastic Beasts 2 is going to be set in Paris and Beauxbatons in the Pyrenees, maybe I'm just going to be left disappointed and not going to get to see the school again. Like, honestly, that was the one big disappointment about Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, was that we didn't get to see Ilvermorny. Yeah, they did throw in a reference when they were talking about Lita Lestrange.
Did you say school? Is there a school? A wizardry school here in America?
Of course. Ilvermorny. It's only the best wizard school in the whole world.
I think you'll find the best wizarding school is Hogwarts. Hashtag UK for the win, Hufflepuff! And there's actually a deleted scene of Queenie and Tina singing the so-called Ilvermorny song. Obviously the DVD isn't out yet, so we don't actually have access to the deleted scenes. But I have seen a YouTube video of it in, so here's a snippet here.
We stand as one, united against the Puritan.
And if you want to see the whole video, click on the iCard here. But even if we don't get to see Beauxbatons, which I feel like might be the case, there's a possibility that we'll get introduced to a character we somehow haven't met yet. Because there's a famous wizard from the first Harry Potter book who actually played an important role that we never actually met. The owner of the Philosopher's Stone, Nicolas Flamel. And since Nicolas Flamel's from France and Newt is going to be in Paris, do you think there's a possibility that Newt might meet him in Fantastic Beasts 2? If you're a bit confused, let me explain. Nicolas Flamel is a French alchemist, and it's confirmed on Pottermore that he attended Beauxbatons. Nicolas and I don't know, sorry. Flamel met at Beauxbatons in their youth. And a magnificent fountain in the middle of the school's park, believed to have healing powers and beautifying properties, is named for them. And of course the real Nicolas Flamel, yeah, he was a real historical figure, was born in Pontoise, again, no idea how to pronounce it, around 1330, which is like northwest of Paris, and died in Paris on March the 22nd, 1418. The real version, that is. The version when Harry Potter found like the Philosopher's Stone and discovered the secret to immortality, which despite the fact some people believe the real version actually did, I don't actually think he did, and the Harry Potter version lived a bit of a different tale. According to an enormous old book Hermione took from the Hogwarts library in 1992, he celebrated his 665th birthday last year. Meaning the Harry Potter version was born before 1327. I'm joking, I didn't do that in my head. And maybe even significantly earlier because it was an old book. The real version of Nicolas Flamel lived the majority of his life in Paris, where he owned 2 shops. And one of Flamel's houses still stands in Paris, at 51 Rue de another word I just can't say. It's now a restaurant and looks like this. And there's also a lovely plaque there dedicated to him. And do I think it's just a coincidence that a historical man, well documented in the first Harry Potter book but never features in it, just happens to live in France, and that turns out to be the place where Newt is going to in Fantastic Beasts 2? Nah, on this channel we don't believe in coincidences. I also think this would be a great way to introduce Dumbledore, which was another question from my 10 questions about Fantastic Beasts 2, because Dumbledore is very well known for working with Nicolas Flamel. Like, his famous wizard's card references it. Albus Dumbledore, currently headmaster of Hogwarts, considered by many the greatest wizard of modern times, Professor Dumbledore is particularly famous for his defeat of the dark wizard Gellert Grindelwald in 1945, for the discovery of the 12 uses of dragon's blood, and his work work on alchemy with his partner, Nicolas Flamel. So it must be relatively important. I think there's actually a large possibility Dumbledore was working with Nicolas Flamel while Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was going on. So maybe Newt travels to Paris to go tell Dumbledore about how his book's going, and Nicolas Flamel just happens to be there as well. For some reason, Grindelwald's going to be in Paris as well. Maybe he wants to confront Dumbledore, or maybe he just wants the Philosopher's Stone, because he did seek out the Deathly Hallows in his youth in his search to become the Master of Death. And the Philosopher's Stone is an object that produces the elixir of life, which expands the drinker's lifespan, which is something I can just imagine Grindelwald would have wanted to have. And obviously there isn't any concrete evidence for this theory. We won't actually know until the film comes out, or maybe Nicolas Flamel be in the trailer or something. And the only real bit of evidence against it is that, again, referring back to the Philosopher's Stone, it says he enjoys a quiet life in Devon with his wife. However, let's not forget that Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them took place nearly 70 years before the Philosopher's Stone. And I think he was still working at this stage of his life. Because let's not forget that Dumbledore was world renowned for working with him, and in comparison to Nicolas Flamel, Dumbledore is young. Meaning if Nicolas Flamel settled down 20 years before the events of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them took place, Dumbledore would have just been out of school. And he'd probably had no interest in working with Dumbledore then, no matter how good his newts were. So what I'm saying is that Dumbledore must have been old enough and a good enough wizard to have worked with Nicolas Flamel, and have also had to have worked with him long enough for it to be important enough to put it on his famous wizard's card. But yeah, there's the evidence to why I believe that Nicolas Flamel will play an important role in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them too. And part of the plot will be to do with the Philosopher's Stone and potentially Grindelwald trying to steal it. And if you agree with me, make sure to leave a like. And check out my video about questions for Fantastic Beasts 2 that I referenced like a million times in this video. Or if you want to see another video like this one, I also believe that Newt Scamander will give Aragog to Hagrid in Fantastic Beasts 3 or 4, and you can watch that one here. And if for some reason you've seen both of them and haven't subscribed or checked out my other social medias, link in the description, make sure you do that. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.